Notion has completely transformed the way I organise my life, to the point where I'd probably have a mental breakdown if it stopped working. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how I went from this to this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Sanji, I'm a second year medical student studying at the University of Melbourne, and in this video, I'm going to take you through a quick tour of my Notion. I'm going to show you guys how I made it aesthetic, and I'm going to give away these templates for free, so you can have all of the amazingness for none of the effort. I'll be making more in-depth tutorials on how to use Notion to organize your life and plan your study, so stay tuned for that. But for now, let's get into it. Now, before we get started, if you guys know where this wallpaper is from, chuck it in the comments below. Alright, welcome to my homepage, which I like to call my life dashboard. Now, you guys may have noticed, but it's Ghibli themed because I totally love Studio Ghibli. And let's just go through it from top to bottom. So, at the top, we have a nice aesthetic header, we have a cup of coffee because it looks aesthetic, and we have a quote that I love, which is, "What you leave behind is not what is engraved into stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others." And I think that this serves as a reminder for me to think about, well, if I were to die tomorrow, how have I helped to make someone's life 1% better? So the main part of my dashboard is split into 4 columns, which is mind, body, life, and creativity, and we'll talk about those soon, but we'll just go through the rest of them. So once again, just a few more pictures of Studio Ghibli, and underneath that we have a few widgets that I got from Indify, and I'll link that below. But essentially it's a nice aesthetic weather widget with animations, as well as a life calendar. This is really cool because it shows you how much of the year has passed and how much of your life has passed as well. And the fact that I'm 22 and 30% of my life is gone already is like mind-blowing. And so underneath that, I just have my morning routine. So simple things like don't check my phone, brush my teeth, stretch, shower, tea and journal, which I try to do every day. I don't manage to meditate every day, but I still try to do it as much as I can. Then I just dress up, eat breakfast and head off. I think these Ghibli pictures are really cool because when you actually go to watch the movie and then you're like, oh, this is on my homepage, it's a really cool feeling. Okay, so let's just go through each of these columns one by one. And we'll start off with mind. And so the first thing is my bookshelf. And so I really love the fact that you can organize things on Notion to make it look really aesthetic. So for example, in my bookshelf, I've organized it into books that I haven't read, books that I'm currently reading, and books that I've read already. And you can also assign priorities to them. So for example, Atomic Habits is high on my to-do list, whereas Hell Yeah or No is lower on my priority list. I also like to take notes on some of the books I read. So for example, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. I actually copied this template from Ali Abdaal, and I'll link that in the description below. But essentially, it's a good way to summarize what you've been reading and to take the lessons that you've learned from it. So for example, in this template, we talk about the book in 3 sentences, the impression of it, how it changed me, the top 3 quotes from it, as well as a summary and the notes that you take from it, which I think is really cool. Okay, and so this is essentially my bookshelf, and now we'll move on to my medicine page. So this is essentially how I organize my med school life. And so we can see here that there's a few pages that I have, so admin and subject guides, core conditions that we need to know, practice for OSCEs, practice for my exams, as well as SBAR. So SBAR is a format that you can use to hand over information to doctors when you're like finishing your shift, or you're calling a different doctor to try to get their opinion. So I'm trying to get better at handing over, which is why I have this here. So I also have a picture of Paul Farmer, who did a lot of humanitarian work in Haiti and other countries like that, and he's a really inspiring guy. And I also have sections for my different rotations this year, so foundations, emergency, surgery, and general medicine. Okay, so that's my medicine page. And in the rest of my mind section, I have things like languages and tutoring that I do. And then in my body section, I have things about my exercise routines, my rehab goals because I hurt my foot, as well as just things about myself and how I'm improving in life. So the third section of my life dashboard is my life, and I like to put all of my general stuff in here. So the first thing is my resonance calendar. Now, the concept of a resonance calendar is also something that I took from people on YouTube. So essentially, it's a place where you put anything that actually resonates with you. So anytime you're feeling down or you're needing motivation or inspiration, you can look at your resonance calendar and find something that will bring you up or make you feel happy. So for example, right at the top, there's this blog called Simple Zen by this guy named Sanji. I've heard it's pretty good, 5 out of 5. But there's also other things. So for example, this song called California by 88 Rising, as well as Hospital Playlist. These are things that just like really make me happy and also give me some motivation. So the next thing is my finances. And here we have things, for example, like my wish list, as well as my overall income for the year. So what I've done here is I've created a spreadsheet that allows me to calculate my net profit or loss for the month and then overall calculate that by the end of the year. So for example, in January, I got a small loan of just $1 million from my dad. And in the same month, I spent $2 million on buying a golf course so I could play during the pandemic. So I know that I'm $1 million in debt. But I'm sure that, with all the practice that I'll get with golf, I'll just win the next US Open and, make that back in a day, so it's fine. All right, so the next thing is goal setting. Now, I don't tend to set a lot of goals on Notion. I actually use things like TickTick and other apps to actually set my daily and monthly goals, just because I find that Notion isn't the best for goal setting and habit tracking. But that said, I do like to put my big yearly goals in my Notion. So for example, for my mind, I want to read books, I want to meditate, and I want to journal. For my body, I'm quite a skinny guy, so I want to increase my body weight to a comfortable 62 kilos. And then in terms of creativity, I want to write 50 blog posts, try and make a YouTube video every week, and I'd also like to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. The next part of my life section is fun, and here I like to just add all the books and movies and TV shows that I watch so I can keep track of them. So for example, I'm reading Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, but some shows that I really enjoyed this year are The Good Place, as well as Memento and The Queen's Gambit. Okay, and the last part of my life section is quotes, and I like to just look through here when I need some inspiration or I'm feeling down as well. So for example, whatever you do, give 100% unless you're donating blood. And the last section is creativity. So for example, here I have my blog, which is Simple Zen. And what I do here is essentially I just have all of my blog posts. So these are ideas that I have, and then once I'm working on them, I put them in progress. And once they're completed, I put them into the completed tab, and then I copy paste them into my blog. So we also have my YouTube section. And here I have a few quotes as well as an aesthetic film camera to help motivate me. And I have a few extra things like study and research that I do for YouTube, as well as the filming settings for my camera, as well as the lighting settings, just audio notes and a video template that I got from Ali Abdaal. And so here, I just have ideas for 2020, and essentially this is a timeline. So these are some ideas, and once I start working on them, they become in progress. And when they're ready to be filmed, they come into the scripted section, and then finally they're completed. So I actually started using this template from Ali Abdaal for my videos starting today. And essentially it's a way to make your videos more like a story so they're more engaging. And so it goes through quite a detailed checklist in terms of how to produce your video. So for example, production, publishing, and promotion, also considering the different titles that you can make, as well as thumbnails. And additionally, this template encourages you to think about the story that you're trying to tell with a video. So for example, in this video, the character is me and I'm trying to look for a better way to organize my life. What are the stakes if I can't organize them, and how am I transformed by the experience? And then finally, we have the actual script itself. So, I have the hook, the intro, as well as a few dot points on what I'm going to talk about. But yeah, so that's essentially my YouTube homepage. And I also have a few things on music and writing that I do as well. Okay, so that's essentially my life dashboard. And personally, I think that this looks really good. And for me, things need to look good for me to have that motivation to actually use something. So I think that's why I'm really drawn to Notion, and that's why I like to use it to organize my life. Alright, so I hope you guys can see how easy and powerful Notion is, and how with a little bit of effort you can make it really aesthetic. I've linked the templates to this Notion down below so you guys can have a look, and like if you enjoyed it, subs if you loved it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.